Every year, you have guys on every roster playing to live up to the hype, justify a contract, or give it one last shot to save their careers. Let's go through every team's player with the most to prove in 2024. If you want to find one specific team, this will be in alphabetical order based on city. Arizona Diamondbacks, Eugenio Suarez. He's coming up to the end of a 7-year deal. He was just traded in the offseason, and if nothing else, he's reliable. He played in all 162 games last year. He's also led the league in strikeouts the last 2 years, and last year he was barely above a league average player. He's 32 years old, and this year is going to make or break a big contract. Atlanta Braves, Chris Sale. He was also just traded at the end of his 5-year contract. He hasn't given the Red Sox much since he signed it, only 31 starts in the first 4 years. Now he's in Atlanta, he just turned 35 years old, and the Braves gave him another year with a club option for 2026. He's getting a fresh start, and he needs to prove he can put in a full season and be effective once again. Baltimore Orioles, John Means. He was their best pitcher during their rebuild, and he's been hurt the last 2 years when the Orioles started winning. Means only started 6 games over those 2 years. He's going to be a free agent after the season, and if he can rebound this year, it'll be huge for the Orioles, and that would land him a nice new contract at age 31. Boston Red Sox, Tyler O'Neill. Here's another guy that was traded in the last year of his contract, set to be a free agent after this year. He's really only played 1 full season, and that season was amazing. In 2021, he had 34 homers and a 912 OPS. Since then, he's been below average and hasn't played more than 96 games. He's gonna need to show some life before he hits the market. He can't have 3 bad seasons in a row. Chicago Cubs, Garrett Cooper. He was an all-star in 2022, then came back in 2023 and split time between Miami and San Diego, and turned out to be an average player. He was able to get a $1.5 million contract, but at age 33, he still has a shot at one last big deal. Chicago White Sox, Paul DeJong. He emerged in 2017 as a big offensive star at shortstop, but ever since the COVID season, he hasn't been able to stay on the field and hasn't been able to crack a 700 OPS. He spent last year on 3 different teams, and he was able to get a 1-year, $1.75 million deal, and if he wants to get another contract, he's going to have to show up this year. Cincinnati Reds, Hunter Green. He was the number 2 overall pick in 2017. He came up in 2022. He's put in 2 below average seasons. He's an exciting power pitcher, but his ERA actually rose almost a half a run last year. And as his team gets better and their games become more meaningful, he has to step up and prove he's the ace of the staff. Cleveland Guardians, Carlos Carrasco. He was part of the Lindor trade, going to the Mets in 2021, and he finished his time there with a 5.21 ERA. At age 37, he's coming back to Cleveland where he spent 11 seasons, signing a 1-year, $2 million deal, and if he wants another contract, he's going to have to show up. He can't have another season with an ERA over 6. Colorado Rockies, Chris Bryant. You don't see the Rockies sign too many superstars, so when they do, you'd hope they show up. Bryant is on a 7-year, $182 million contract, and after 42 very good games in 2022, he played 80 bad games in 2023. He's still trying to break that half-season mark, and he's got to be better than last year's 680 OPS, 76 OPS plus. He still has time to save that contract. Detroit Tigers, Jack Flaherty. He was one of the best pitchers in baseball in 2019, and since then, he's either been hurt, been getting rocked, or both. He has enough upside to get signed for a lot of money, but at age 28, he only got a 1-year, $14 million deal. A bad year, and he gets another 1-year deal for half that amount. A good year, and he can name his price. Houston Astros, Alex Bregman. Not a lot of good options here, so let's look at a guy entering his walk year. He's never been able to match his near MVP year of 2019, but he's still been a great player. At age 30, if he can play up to his 1000 OPS 2019 level, he's going to have teams tripping over themselves to give him a 10-year deal. Kansas City Royals, Cole Ragans. He was part of the Chapman trade, and right away he started paying off. 12 starts and a 2.64 ERA. That was awesome, but now he's expected to put in a full season, and we'll see if he can hold up for 33 starts and be the Royals' ace. Los Angeles Angels, Anthony Rendon. He was on my list last year too, and he played a sad 43 games, only posting a 678 OPS and 88 OPS plus. He's only on year 5 of a 7-year deal, and especially after his comments about baseball not being his top priority, which by the way, I think wasn't a big deal, but when you have his track record, it's not a good look. But anyway, it's about time he plays like the star the Angels thought they were signing. Los Angeles Dodgers, Tyler Glasnow. He's got all the tools you want in a starting pitcher, but last year he put in a career-high 120 innings, and since he came up in 2016, he only has one other year with 100. That's not a great track record for a guy who just signed a 5-year, $136 million extension, so we'll see if he can put in a good body of work for the Dodgers in the years to come. Miami Marlins, Tim Anderson. Up until 2023, this guy was one of the best hitting shortstops in the league. His walk year was not good. He had a terrible .582 OPS, and he was able to score a 1-year, $5 million contract with the Marlins. He's only 30. He's been good more often than not, so assuming he's not on the downslide, he can have a good year and score a bigger contract. Milwaukee Brewers, Rhys Hoskins. His offense has been very good since he broke in back in 2017. He ended his time in Philly with a 30-homer season, coming up big in the World Series run, but then he got hurt in spring training last year, and he lost his job to Bryce Harper. He got a nice deal as he should have. 1 year, $16 million, and a player and mutual option through 2026. But given the circumstances of losing his job because of injury, he's going to be motivated to reprove himself. Minnesota Twins, Byron Buxton. He was the second overall pick in 2012. He signed a $100 million deal in 2022, and over his first 9 major league seasons, he's played over 100 games once. Last season was the same old story, only 85 games, but unlike his other short seasons, this time his on-field play wasn't that good. He only had a .731 OPS and 98 OPS+. The Twins are going to be contenders, and he needs to stay on the field and regain that 2019 to 2022 performance. New York Mets, Luis Severino. Back in 2017 and 2018, he was one of the best pitchers in baseball. Then, he gets bit by the injury bug, loses 3 years of his career, comes back strong in 2022, has a miserable year in 2023, and now he moves across town for a 1-year deal with the Mets. At age 30, he's got to use this year to get his career back on track and get a nice multi-year deal. New York Yankees, Carlos Rodon. In 2021, he figured it out, living up to the promise of his number 3 overall pick in 2014, and followed that up with an awesome year in San Francisco. He turned that into a 6-year, $162 million deal with the Yankees, and year 1 couldn't have been any worse. The Yankees are playing to win a World Series, and to do that, Rodon has to prove last year was the exception, not the norm. Oakland A's, J.D. Davis. This is the last year of his contract, the Giants sending him across the bay to Oakland, coming off a full but very average season in San Francisco. He's only about to be 31. He's on a team that's going nowhere, so he just needs to focus on performing well enough to score a good contract this year. Philadelphia Phillies, Gregory Soto. This was a big move to improve their bullpen in 2023, coming off 2 All-Star seasons in Detroit, and his ERA spiked by over a run to .462. He still has 3 years on his contract, but if he wants to be a high-leverage arm in the back of a very good bullpen on a team that's going to the playoffs, he's going to have to play like he did in 2021 and 2022. Pittsburgh Pirates, Martin Perez. In 2022, this guy pitched almost 200 innings and had a sub-3 ERA. Then the Rangers get good, he becomes a part-time starter, and his ERA goes up to about 4.5. He leaves Texas, finds a 1-year deal with the Pirates, and he's about to be 33, so if he can put in some solid work, there's still time to get a good contract. San Diego Padres, Robert Suarez. They lost Josh Hader in the offseason. He was a lockdown closer for them, so now they have to replace him. They got Woo Suk-go from Korea, but so far, Robert Suarez has been closing games. He came up at age 31 in 2022, only pitched 27 2/3 innings and had a .423 ERA in 2023. He only had 1 save before this year, so the Padres are taking a risk and naming him as Hader's successor. He's been given a great opportunity, he just needs to prove he deserves it. San Francisco Giants, Blake Snell. He held out a long time this offseason, coming off a dominant Cy Young season, and he was able to score more than $30 million a year, but only on a 2-year contract. He's got 2 Cy Youngs over his 8 seasons, but when he's not winning hardware, he's closer to an average pitcher. He's got a shot in San Francisco to prove he's more consistent and worthy of $30 million a year. Seattle Mariners, Luke Raley. At age 28, he had a breakout year in 2023, only his 3rd major league season. The Rays traded him to the Mariners, so now he's got a whole new team to prove himself to. That's a very good team he's going to, so he needs to earn an everyday spot in the outfield. St. Louis Cardinals, Dylan Carlson. He was 3rd for Rookie of the Year in 2021, but since that 780 OPS, 115 OPS plus year, he's been regressing. His games played and OPS just keep falling, but at age 25, he should only be improving. This once great prospect needs to make 2023 his rock bottom. and start turning that ship around as he comes into his prime years. Tampa Bay Rays, Brandon Lowe. He proved himself to be one of baseball's most underrated players between 2019 and 2021. He was an MVP candidate each year, but in 2022, he played 65 games and was not very good. He had a bit of a rebound last year, but nowhere near his MVP level, so if he doesn't have a good season, the team may decline his option for 2025. Texas Rangers, Jared Walsh. Once upon a time, the Angels cut Albert Pujols so this guy could get more playing time. He had a great 2021, but since 2022, his career has been falling apart. He's got a new team, a fresh start, and he's going to be fighting for playing time. Toronto Blue Jays, Alek Manoah. After 2 great seasons to start his career, Manoah's 2023 season was nothing short of a nightmare. His ERA went from 2.24 to 5.87. There were obviously performance issues, mental issues. It was a soap opera week after week. He's injured to start the season, but the Blue Jays could really use him to crack the playoffs this year. Washington Nationals, Nick Senzel. I had him as the Reds pick last year, and he was better but still not good. Only 104 games, 13 homers, OPS rising to 696, OPS plus 85. Still below average, but his best season since his rookie year in 2019. He was a number 2 overall pick and had a lot of promise. Now, at age 28, he's got a 1-year, $2 million deal in Washington, and if he breaks out, he could be looking at a much better deal. That's all for this video. I'm sure there's going to be lots of disagreement here, especially for the guys on your favorite team, and this was a tough list to put together, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Before you go, don't forget to drop a like, and if you're new here and want to see more content like this, please give me a sub. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.